Hello and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and as always, I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Julia. How are you today, Julia?
Hey Jason, I'm doing great, and I'm really excited about today's topic. I think it's something every English learner needs to hear.
Absolutely. Today we're talking about speak smart, learn fast. If you've ever wondered how some people improve their English quickly while others struggle, this episode is for you.
Yes, we'll share practical tips on how speaking smart can actually help you learn faster. Whether you're a beginner or already on your English journey, these strategies will make a huge difference.
And here's the best part. You don't need complicated grammar or a huge vocabulary. Speaking smart is all about using the right techniques, and we're going to break it all down for you.
That's right. So stick with us till the end because we have some powerful tips that can transform the way you speak and learn English.
All right, let's dive right in. First, let's talk about why speaking smart actually matters and how it can speed up your learning process. All right, so let's start with a big question. What does it really mean to speak smart? Julia, what's your take on it?
Great question. Speaking smart means using simple, clear, and natural English. It's about choosing the right words, speaking with confidence, and avoiding overcomplicated grammar. You don't need to sound like a professor. Just be clear and effective.
Exactly. And here's the interesting part. When you focus on speaking smart, you actually learn faster. The more you practice using the right words and phrases, the more naturally English becomes a part of you.
Yes, but many learners think they need a huge vocabulary or perfect grammar before they start speaking. That's a mistake.
Totally, I always say don't focus on speaking perfectly, focus on speaking naturally. Think about it, even native speakers make mistakes, but they speak confidently. That's what really matters.
Absolutely. And speaking smart helps you avoid frustration. Many learners feel stuck because they try to translate from their native language, and that slows them down.
Right. Let's make it simple. If you want to improve fast, don't try to memorize hundreds of words. Instead, learn the most common words and phrases and use them smartly.
That's a great point, Jason. I once met a student who struggled with speaking because he was obsessed with learning difficult words. But when he started using simple phrases correctly, his confidence grew and he improved so much faster.
Yes, that's proof that speaking smart works. When you use English in a natural way, learning becomes easier and more enjoyable. So instead of trying to sound perfect, focus on sounding clear and confident.
Exactly. And speaking of confidence, let's move on to the next part, how speaking and learning are connected and why practice makes you a better speaker.
So now that we know why speaking smart is important, let's talk about something interesting, how speaking and learning are actually connected. Julia, what do you think? Does speaking help people learn faster?
Definitely. Speaking isn't just about communication, it's one of the fastest ways to learn a language. When you speak, you're forcing your brain to think in English, and that helps you remember words and phrases much better.
Exactly, it's called active learning. When you just read or listen, that's passive learning. But when you actually speak, your brain is working harder to recall and use the language correctly. That's why people who practice speaking daily improve much faster.
Yes, and there's a scientific reason behind this. When we speak, we're engaging different parts of the brain, listening, memory, and speech production, all at the same time. This strengthens your English skills more than just reading a book or watching videos passively.
That's such an important point. Let me give you an example. Imagine two students. One spends an hour every day reading grammar rules, while the other spends the same time practicing speaking with simple sentences. Who do you think will improve faster?
Oh, definitely the one speaking, because they're using the language in real situations. And it's not just about learning faster, it's also about remembering what you learn. When you speak, words stick in your mind much longer.
Yes, and this is why many people understand English but struggle to speak. They focus too much on studying and not enough on using the language.
Right. So here's a tip. Every time you learn a new word or phrase, don't just write it down. Say it out loud. Use it in a sentence. Even if you're alone, speak to yourself in English.
That's a great exercise. The more you say things, the easier it gets to remember them. And speaking of easy ways to improve, let's move on to some key strategies to help you speak smart and learn fast. Now that we understand how speaking helps us learn faster, let's talk about how to speak smart. Julia, what are some key strategies that can help our listeners improve their speaking skills quickly?
Great question, Jason. There are several simple but powerful techniques. Let's go step by step. The first one is keeping it simple. Many learners think they need big, complicated words to sound smart, but that's not true.
Exactly, smart speaking isn't about using difficult words. It's about being clear and natural. For example, instead of saying, I am experiencing difficulties comprehending this topic, just say, I don't understand this topic. Short and clear.
Yes, simple English is powerful English, and that leads to our second strategy, listen and copy. One of the fastest ways to improve your speaking is to listen to native speakers and copy their way of speaking.
That's a great tip. This method is called shadowing. You listen to a sentence, then repeat it immediately in the same way. It helps with pronunciation, fluency, and natural rhythm.
Exactly. You can do this with podcasts, YouTube videos, or even movies. Just pick a sentence, pause, and repeat. It's like learning a song. You get better the more you practice.
Love that. Now, here's the third strategy, think in English. Many learners slow down because they try to translate from their native language. That's a big mistake.
Right. Translating takes time, and sometimes the words don't match perfectly. Instead, try to think directly in English. Even for small things like when you see a car, don't think of your native word first, just say car in your head.
Great point. And here's a fun challenge. Next time you're walking outside, try naming everything in English: tree, road, bus, shop, sky. The more you train your brain to think in English, the faster you'll improve.
Yes, and that brings us to strategy number 4, use smart fillers. If you're unsure what to say, don't panic. Native speakers use fillers like, well, actually to sound more natural.
That's a great tip. Instead of freezing when you forget a word, use a filler. For example, instead of saying, I, I don't know, just say, well, I'm not sure, but I think it makes you sound fluent, even when you're thinking.
Exactly. And speaking of sounding natural, let's try something fun. Jason, say this sentence in a robotic way. I am happy to be here today.
I am happy to be here today.
Okay, now say it naturally, like a native speaker.
I'm happy to be here today.
See the difference? Smart speaking is all about sounding natural, not just saying words, but saying them with the right rhythm.
Yeah, so let's quickly recap. Keep it simple. Listen and copy, think in English, and use smart fillers. These small changes will help you speak smarter and learn faster.
That's right. And next, we'll give you some practical tips to speed up your learning even more, so stay with us.
All right, now that we've covered smart speaking strategies, let's talk about something just as important: how to learn English faster. Julia, what are some practical tips that can help our listeners speed up their learning?
Great question, Jason. The first tip is immerse yourself in English daily. Learning doesn't just happen in a classroom. The more English you see, hear, and use, the faster you'll improve.
That's a great point. And immersion doesn't mean moving to an English-speaking country. You can create an English world around you, change your phone settings to English, follow English social media pages, and watch videos in English.
Yes, even small changes help. For example, instead of watching movies with subtitles in your language, switch to English subtitles. It trains your brain to think in English.
Exactly. Now, the second tip: speak out loud every day. Many learners are shy about speaking, but the more you practice, the easier it gets.
Right, and if you don't have a speaking partner, No problem. Talk to yourself in English. Describe what you're doing, like, now I am making coffee, or I need to buy groceries today. It may feel funny at first, but it really works.
That's a fantastic tip. And here's the third one. Learn in short, focus sessions. Instead of studying for hours, break it into 20-minute practice sessions. Short and consistent learning is more effective than long, exhausting sessions.
Yes. Plus, when you study in small chunks, your brain remembers information better. You can learn vocabulary in the morning, listen to a podcast in the afternoon, and practice speaking at night. Small steps lead to big results.
Love that. And here's one final tip. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes mean you're learning. Every time you say something wrong, you're getting closer to saying it right.
Exactly. Even native speakers make mistakes. The key is to keep going and keep speaking. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
So let's quickly review. Immerse yourself in English. Speak out loud every day. Study in short sessions. And don't fear mistakes. Follow these tips, and you'll learn English faster than ever.
That's right. And next, let's talk about one of the biggest challenges learners face: how to stay consistent and keep improving over time.
Now we've talked about how to learn fast. But what about the things that slow us down? Many English learners make common mistakes that stop their progress. Julia, what's one of the biggest mistakes?
One big mistake is being afraid to speak. Many learners wait until they feel ready before they start speaking. But guess what? If you wait too long, you'll never feel ready.
That's so true. You don't have to speak perfect English. Just speak. Even if you make mistakes, it's better than staying silent.
Exactly. And that brings us to another mistake: focusing too much on grammar. Of course, grammar is important, but if you're always thinking about rules while speaking, you'll hesitate and sound unnatural.
Right? Instead of worrying about every little mistake, focus on communicating your message. Even native speakers don't always use perfect grammar in conversations.
Yes. And here's another mistake: learning too many words at once. Some learners try to memorize hundreds of words, but they never use them. It's better to learn fewer words and actually practice using them.
Great point. Learning 5 words and using them every day is better than learning 50 words and forgetting them the next day.
So, let's review. The biggest mistakes are being afraid to speak, focusing too much on grammar, and memorizing too many words without practice. If you avoid these mistakes, your English will improve much faster.
Absolutely. And coming up next, we'll give you a step-by-step action plan to apply everything you've learned today. So stay with us. All right, before we wrap up, we have a fun challenge for you. Learning English should be exciting, so Julia and I have come up with a little game to help you practice speaking smart and learning fast.
Yes, here's how it works. We'll give you a short sentence in basic English, and your job is to say it in a smarter, more natural way out loud. Are you ready?
Great, here's the first one. Instead of saying, I am feeling very tired, how can you say it in a shorter, more natural way?
One good way is to say, I'm exhausted, or I'm so tired. See, short, natural, and smart.
Awesome. Now try this one. Instead of saying, I do not understand this word, what's a smart way to say it?
Did you say, I don't get it, or what does this mean? If yes, great job.
Nice work. So here's your challenge for today. Pick 3 simple sentences you often use in English and try to say them in a smarter, shorter, and more natural way. Practice them out loud.
Yes, and if you want, share your sentences in the comments. We'd love to see your creative answers.
All right, coming up next, we'll wrap up everything we've learned today with a simple action plan. Don't go anywhere. Wow, what a great conversation today, Julia. We covered a lot: how to speak smart, learn fast, avoid common mistakes, and even had a fun challenge for our listeners.
Absolutely, Jason. And remember, learning English is a journey. The key is to keep practicing, stay confident, and have fun while improving.
That's right. Now here's your action plan. 1. Practice speaking smart. Use simple, natural phrases instead of long, complicated sentences. 2. Learn fast by immersing yourself in English daily. Listen, speak, and think in English as much as possible. 3. Avoid common mistakes. Don't be afraid to speak. Don't overthink grammar, and focus on using words, not just memorizing them. 4. Take on today's challenge. Transform basic sentences into smarter, more natural English.
And most importantly, take action today. Don't just listen to this podcast. Go out and practice what you learned.
Yes, and if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our podcast. Leave a comment with your thoughts or any questions. You never know, we might feature your question in our next episode.
That's right. Keep practicing, stay confident, and we'll see you next time.
Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and speak smart. Bye for now.